everyone.
Alaikum assalam.
Now, today we are going to start the first and second topic of the mediator of inflammation. All of you are requested to kindly write your roll number, ID, name and ID in the chat box for attendance purpose. Okay, fine. Now these are the gross objectives of the chapter or the topic we are taking. Now, general principles. Now, what are chemical mediators? Chemical mediators are actually messenger substances mediating the process of inflammation. They are substances that mediate the process of inflammation and are important in case of any inflammation. Now, where do they arise from? They can arise from they can be there can be plasma derived chemical mediators, or there can be cell derived. So these chemical mediators in inflammation, they can be either derived from the cells that participate in inflammation, or the cells or the plasma which is present inside the blood, of course. Now, why is their production is triggered by microbial products and host proteins. Yani both the microbes, the bacterial products and the host proteins, they produce it. And they have a variety of diverse effects on the body. Now how they act? They act by binding to the specific receptors on the target cells, or they can have enzymatic activity, or they can cause oxidative damage. Similarly, they can also release the other mediators. Yani one mediator can give rise to the production of the other mediators. Similarly, one mediator can act on many types of the cells, not only one. But there is one thing in common, that is that these mediators, they are short-lived. Yani they cannot survive, they cannot act for long time. It is because of the fact that there is spontaneous decay. When a chemical mediator is released, after some time, there is a spontaneous decay. Spontaneous means automatic. There is automatic decay of that substance. Similarly, inactivity, it is fast inactivated by the enzymes of the body. Similarly, it is cleaned up or removed also. And similarly, it is also inhibited by the inhibitory proteins to maintain homeostasis or a balance in the body. Now, these are the plasma-derived mediators, and these are the cell-derived mediators. The plasma-derived mediators, they include, for example, the complement system. The complement system, like the C3A, the C5A. Similarly, the Hageman factor. There is the Hageman factor. Eichmann factor, which activates the clotting system, fibrinolytic system, the kinin system. Okay, so these include the fibrin split products, the kinins, all these mediators. Then there are the cell-derived mediators. These are the major cells that produce these cell-derived mediators. What are these? The basophils, mast cells. They are the main product. Mainly, they produce histamine. Similarly, the platelets, they mostly produce serotonin. Then the inflammatory cells, like neutrophils, other, they produce the platelet activating factor, prostaglandins, and the leukotrienes. Similarly, the endothelial cells, they produces the nitric oxide, platelet activating factor, and the prostaglandins. And these have all of these mediators, they have an effect on the vessels. They have the effect on the vessels, and what they cause to the vessels is that they increase the vascular permeability. Yani the fluid leaks out. The fluid leaks out of the blood vessels, and it is the cause of edema. It is the cause of edema in case of the inflammation. Now, cell-derived mediators, it includes the histamine, substances like histamine, which we saw produced by mast cells, basophils, serotonin, mostly produced by the platelets. These are present in preform, yani they are already produced and stored in the cells, and when there is inflammation, they are released. Histamine is a key mediator involved in the early stage of acute inflammation. Okay, so whenever there is inflammation, it is an early mediator. It has immediate action, and immediately it is released because it is already formed, and it is produced by mast cells and basophils. This can be an MCQ, or this can be as a question. These mast cells, histamine is an important topic in acute inflammation, and you remember this. This can come as a question, so pay attention to it and remember this. And further in dermatology, etc., you need to treat the patient like this way. Like pharmacology, you have antihistaminic drugs, because it is an important mediator of inflammation. Produced by mast cells, its action is vasodilation and increased vascular permeability, and it is inactivated in the body by histamine. Now, how is histamine released? What are the factors that stimulate release of histamine? These are the physical agents like the heat, the cold, the trauma. These agents release the histamine. Similarly, complement fragments like the anaphylotoxins, those that cause anaphylaxis, the substances like C3A, these are the complement products, complement system products. In there are a variety of proteins like C3A, C5A. Similarly, histamine releasing proteins from the leukocyte, the WBCs release some proteins which increase their production. Neuropeptides, cytokines 1, interleukin 1, interleukin 8. They increase the production of histamine. Then the serotonin, as we saw, mostly secreted by the platelets. It is release is stimulated when platelets aggregate. When platelets aggregate, then these are released. And actions are similar to histamine. Functions. Now, what is the function of this serotonin? It dilates the arterioles and it constricts the venules and increases the permeability of capillaries and causes edema. Act on free nerve endings, it causes the pain, and it is inactivated by monoamine oxidase, another enzyme. Now remember these important. What are the functions of these serotonin released by platelets? Then there are the eicosanoids. These are the products from the arachidonic acid metabolites. These are polyunsaturated fatty acid hormones that act locally at the site of generation and then decay spontaneously. Eicosanoids include substances such as the prostaglandins, the leukotrienes, the lipoxins. These are a vast group of mediators, but they form from the major source is arachidonic acid. They are produced in the body from the arachidonic acid. Now, where it comes from? It comes from the phospholipid of the cells by the action of the phospholipase. See, this is the membrane phospholipids. The phospholipase is an enzyme. It acts on the membrane phospholipids of the cells. And what is produced? This arachidonic acid. And then arachidonic acid, there are two cycles, two pathways. One is the lipoxygenase pathway, then there is the cyclooxygenase pathway. Lipoxygenase pathway leads to the formation of leukotrienes, and cyclooxygenase leads to the process of production of the prostaglandins and the thromboxane, like this. Now, how are they produced? By physical injury, chemical injury, or complementary product C5A. This is what I told you. Cyclooxygenase pathway produces thromboxanes and the prostaglandins and the prostacyclins. So this you remember this again. This can come as question. Yani, what are the products of cyclooxygenase pathway? This. And what are the products of lipoxygenase pathway? Leukotriene, B4, C4, D4. This. Now, this is a picture taken from Robbins. This is in the picture form. Membrane phospholipids acted by phospholipase. Now, if in the case of inflammation, we give steroids. The dermatologist gives the patient a steroid to stop inflammation of skin. How it acts? It acts here. It inhibits this phospholipase enzyme, and arachidonic acid is not formed. So all these inflammatory mediators are not formed. Similarly, a person from medicine can give aspirin or indomethacin. How it acts? It stops here. It stops the production of the cyclooxygenase. And when cyclooxygenase is stopped, it stops the production of all these thromboxanes, prostaglandins, all this. And these all actions, they are stopped. Similarly, this is the lipoxygenase pathway, leads to the production of the leukotrienes, lipoxygens, and here, this product, 5-HET, it causes chemotaxis. Remember this table, very important table. If you remember this, you remember a very broad thing, very useful in pharmacology and very useful in pathology as well as it is important for your further exams like USMLE or any other further exam. or your this exam also. So the registration, inshallah, mustaqbil. And it is important to remember the concept also. Now, effects of eicosanoids. What are the effects of eicosanoids that we discussed? Eicosanoids, that is all these substances. The prostaglandins. Prostaglandins, it includes PGE2, D2, I2, and thromboxane A2. These are the prostaglandins. PGE2 has its effects, vasodilation. PGD2 has effect, vasodilation. I2 has effects, vasodilation. Thromboxane A2 has effect, vasoconstriction. Can again be a question, which of the following can cause this? Similarly, leukotrienes. Now the leukotrienes, it includes like leukotriene B4. Leukotriene B4, it is a potent chemotactic agent. Yani it is a chemotactic agent which favors the migration of the neutrophils and to the site of action. In easy language, causes aggregation of increased adherence of neutrophils to vascular endothelium. Leukotriene C4, D4, E4, they increase the vascular permeability. Then there are the lipoxins. Lipoxins are antagonists of leukotrienes. Yani they act against the leukotrienes and they function as inhibitors of the inflammation. This is because in order to, Allah has kept this in order to keep a balance. These lipoxins, they act against the leukotrienes to keep act as inhibitors of inflammation. Sources are leukocytes, platelets, and principal action are to inhibit leukocyte recruitment and cellular components of inflammation. Then there is the platelet activating factor. Platelet activating factor, it is a phospholipid derived mediator with inflammatory effects 100 to 1000 times more powerful than the histamine in inducing vasodilation and increased vascular permeability. Now, this is the structure of platelet activating factor. It is secreted from platelets, endothelium, neutrophils, mast cell, basophils. This and major inflammatory action is increased vascular permeability. Then the other are leukocyte aggregation, addition. This. Then the cytokines. Cytokines are polypeptide products of many products that function as mediators of inflammation. It includes like interleukins. Then you can say cytokines are substances by which these small cells communicate with each other, by which they talk to each other. These include substances such as interleukins or cytokines that mediate communication between leukocytes. Similarly, cytokines in acute inflammation, TNF, tissue necrotic factor, and interleukin 1 as we are chemokines. Similarly, these are other cytokines in chronic inflammation are interferon gamma and interleukin 12. So, in acute inflammation, tissue necrotic factor and interleukin 1 is mostly involved, and in chronic inflammation, interferon gamma and interleukin 12 is involved. Interleukin 1 and tissue necrotic factor, this is involved in acute inflammation. These are master inflammatory cytokines. Their sources, they come from macrophages, lymphocytes, mast cells, and the stimuli is injury, immune complex, and other mediators. Then in acute inflammation, the actions include local effect, systemic effects, and effect on fibroblasts. So these two substances, they have local effect, systemic effect, effects on fibroblasts. This is the action. This is the major effect of tissue necrotic factor and interleukin 1. What is the stimulating factor? Bacterial products, immune complex, toxins, physical injury, and other cytokines. They activate the macrophages and the other cells, and these macrophages then release tissue necrotic factor and interleukin 1. And this then has these effects. The systemic effects, for example, these include the fever, the increased sleep, decreased appetite, as we know. Then there are the fibroblast effect, increased proliferation, this. You can read it. I don't have so time because many slides, but you can read it. Similarly, the endothelial effects, increased leukocyte adherence, increased PGI2 synthesis. Remember this table. Again, a table from Robbins. Please remember it. After finishing lecture, you can remember it. Now, these interleukin 1 and tissue necrotic factor, what they do is that they increase the production of PGE. And this PGE, prostaglandin E, then goes to then it goes to the hypothalamus temperature reset center, and what happens? There is fever. The temperature, the person becomes febrile. They also increase the release of WBC from the bone marrow and result in leukocytosis. The leukocytosis happens. The bone marrow produces the other WBCs, and the liver produces complement components and coagulation factors. Please remember the main functions of the interleukin 1 and tissue necrotic factor. Can be a question. These are master mediators, very important. Then chemokines, they act as chemoattractants for specific leukocytes. They bind to the surface receptor and cause cytoskeletal alteration, and they affect the leukocytes. Chemokines stimulate leukocyte recruitment and control the normal migration of cells. Chemokines, kines means attracting, chemo means chemo. Then interferons alpha, beta, gamma. We know that gamma is involved in chronic inflammation. Alpha and beta, they have primary antiviral effects. And it inhibits the cell replication. And interferon gamma, it is from the T cells. It is also antiviral, and it's a potent macrophage activator. Then there are the growth factors. Growth factors like platelet-derived growth factor, transforming growth factor beta. They are involved in regeneration. After inflammation, if there is injury, they are involved in regeneration and repair. Then the acute phase proteins. These are proteins whose level fluctuate in level to injury. Now these acute phase proteins, they are synthesized by the liver cells or hepatocytes in response to cytokines released from the macrophages. Now the macrophages release interleukin 1, interleukin 6, similarly tissue necrotic factor. And the liver then releases the acute phase proteins. Now, what are these acute phase proteins? Acute phase proteins are released from hepatocytes after macrophages secrete these substances. Now, these proteins are C-reactive protein, antitrypsin, ceruloplasmin, fibrinogen, haptoglobulin, serum amyloid protein. These. Remember this? Now, what is the function of acute phase proteins? First of all, they regulate the inflammatory mediators levels. Opsonization involved in destroying the foreign organisms, cause systemic effects including fever, malaise, loss of appetite, and desire to sleep, and they increase the erythrocyte sedimentation rate that we measure in the laboratory. Erythrocyte ESR rate or erythrocyte sedimentation rate. Now this is the ESR, erythrocyte sedimentation rate. It is measured in the first hour. It is a non-specific measure of inflammation. What happens is that in inflammation, the red cells form stacks, such as we call these stacks. In inflammation, this we call as Rolex formation. And this Rolex formation is due to higher fibrinogen, between fibrinogen and negative charge of the. So whenever there is inflammation, there is Rolex formation and ESR increases. The mechanism is written here, not difficult. Then there is the nitric oxide. Now this nitric oxide, it is synthesized by the endothelial cells, the macrophages, and the brain neurons. The major effect of this nitric oxide, which is released from the endothelial cells, the major effect is vasodilatation. Then it reduces platelet aggregation and addition, and it is a cytotoxic to attack microorganisms. And the short lifetime of nitric oxide keeps its effects localized. So this is the nitric oxide. Lysosomal enzymes of leukocytes. The lysosomal granules of neutrophils and monocytes contain enzymes released after cell death or leak out during phagocytosis. The damaging effects of lysosomal enzymes are checked by antiproteases. These are stored in the lysozymes of the leukocytes. And what are these? There are specific granules for lysosomes. Similarly, azuroferric granules. So these are the lysosomal enzymes: lactoferrin, lysozyme, alkaline phosphatase, similarly myeloperoxidase, acid hydrolase. Then there are the reactive oxygen metabolites. The formation of reactive oxygen metabolites by phagocytes is stimulated by phagocytosis, causing the following effects: endothelial damage with consequent increased vascular permeability, inactivation of antiocrosis, and antioxidants. These reactive oxygen metabolites, they are actually inactivated in the body because these are very dangerous. They produce damage to the body. So there are some antioxidants that decrease their effect, such as ceruloplasmin, transferrin, superoxide dismutase, catalase, and glutathione peroxidase. These antioxidants are produced in the body, they protect against the reactive oxygen metabolites. Now this is the reference, and thank you. Now I will be saving your